live, Chief.
Good evening, Executive Chief Thomas Harden with the Houston Police Department. We're going to provide y'all with a preliminary briefing on an officer-involved shooting out here this evening. Yesterday morning, there was a domestic violence report between a husband and wife that involved an assault. Then they share a young child together. The victim of that domestic incident went to go stay with a relative overnight. Earlier today, the suspect in that case went to that relative's residence and kidnapped our complainant and the child at gunpoint, leaving that location with both victims. Our reportee reported the incident to HPD. We sent officers over to the location where the reportee believed the suspect and victims may be. Our officers had a vehicle description of the suspect. They located that suspect vehicle moving near the apartment complex, tried to initiate a traffic stop, and that vehicle fled. During the vehicle fleeing, at two separate times, the suspect reached out the window and fired shots at our officers. Two separate shootings by the suspect during the pursuit. Our officers did a phenomenal job of staying involved in the pursuit until our helicopter got overseen. At that point, our units backed off as much as they could, hoping that the suspect would either pull over or release the hostages. Unfortunately, that did not occur. The suspect eventually entered onto the freeway here, rush hour traffic about 5:30 this evening, or I'm sorry, about 4:30 this evening, where our officers chose to do a pit maneuver to bring the chase to a close. At that time, there was an officer-involved shooting. We have 3 officers that discharged their firearms, striking the suspect. Our officers immediately removed both complainants, both hostages from the vehicle. Then they removed the suspect from the vehicle and applied first aid to the suspect. Unfortunately, the suspect did not make it. He is deceased on scene. Both hostages are safe and unharmed. Before I take questions, I want to commend our officers and our supervisors. It is a tremendous amount of information that they have to take in during a situation like this. A mobile hostage scene where they were shot at 2 separate times. Yet they continued to do what was right and try to save these hostages. And at the end of the day, both hostages were rescued unharmed because of the courageous acts of our officers and our supervisors. And I thank them for that. Do you have any questions?
How many shots were fired?
I do not know at this time how many shots were fired.
Do you know the child's age and sex?
I do, but I'm not going to release it at this time since it's a juvenile. Anybody else?
Was he a baby or an 11-year-old or?
We'll call the child a juvenile. That's all.
Was the suspect known to officers? Did he have a history here?
At the time of the incident, we had a name, and that's all we had. I mean, we know who he is now, obviously, because he's on scene, but no, not at the time.
No prior arrest or anything?
That's unconfirmed at this time.
Where's the apartment complex where it all started?
Over in the Hillcroft and Clearwood area.
Do you have an address?
Family, Hispanic,
I do have an address, but I'm not going to release it because it's also the victim's address.
Hispanics? Where the family was?
One more time?
Family, Hispanic?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But I mean, it must have been kind of dangerous for people on the freeway, but luckily nobody got hit or anything, right?
So, yes, it is dangerous for people on the freeway, but that was what made the supervisors make the decision to bring it to a close. Is getting into a high-speed pursuit or a potential high-speed pursuit on the freeway at rush hour with a suspect that has already demonstrated he has a firearm. He's willing to fire at officers. He has a hostage he took at gunpoint. So they decided to terminate the pursuit as fast as possible or before it could happen on the freeway.
Can you kind of describe or explain like the whole pit maneuver, sort of how it kind of transpired, how it went down?
No, I'm not going to go into that. Thank you. Anybody else?
Any idea how long the freeway is going to be closed?
I do not know how long the freeway is going to be closed. At the conclusion of the investigation, we'll open it up. But we've brought plenty of units out here for traffic direction to try to provide some alternate routes for people on the freeway.
How long did the chase take?
It was several minutes. I didn't get an exact time, but it was over 10 minutes.
No one else was involved or hurt in this? No one else, like bystanders?
That's correct. The only hurt individual we know of right now is the suspect.
How would you kind of sum up and describe the whole situation?
How would I sum up and describe the situation? We have a bad actor that took somebody hostage at gunpoint, and we had a high number of police officers willing to go toward danger and stand in the face of danger to save two hostages who they've never met in their life. And they were successful. So I'm very, very proud of them.
What kind of firearm was this?
It was a handgun.
A handgun.
How are the hostages now?
I'm sorry?
How are the hostages now?
Both hostages are safe and obviously shaken up, but they're unharmed.
We'll take one more and that's it. Anyone else?
Married, or it was just a couple, or they were married?
I haven't confirmed that.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
En español, ¿va a decir algo?